Ever just feel down in the dumps, guys? Like, whether it's work or finances or trouble with a significant other that, nothing anybody can do, nothing anybody can say. Like, you just can't shake it. It just eats at you, and doesn't seem like you'll be feeling better anytime soon. Well, that's kind of how I feel this week. Kind of in a bit of a funk, And a few things will guaranteed put a smile on my face, And food's one of them. I mean, after all, it's why I do what I do. It's why I cook. Because it makes me feel better. It helps me express my love and affection for people. It helps me share. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to share with you some of my comfort foods. Barbecue is one of them. So we're going to do some barbecue mango ribs, maybe a little macaroni and cheese and a side dish. That sounds like just what the doctor ordered. See, for me, guys, comfort food is about the process as much as it is about the actual finished dish. It just gets me out of my head, It just like puts me in the frame of mind where I'm not focusing on what's going on in my life and I'm focusing on what's going on in the food. And that always makes me feel better. So that's why we're going to do everything from scratch today, or as close to from scratch today. Starting with that spice rub. The beauty about custom spice rubs, guys, is that it's just that, custom. I'm showing you what I use, but you can totally play with this recipe. I used about half a cup of dark brown sugar and equal amounts of kosher salt. Now, if you want to be a little bit neater and cleaner, you can definitely use a spoon or tip it in there. Instead of using the pepper medley, I'm using about a tablespoon of pre-ground black pepper, a pinch of cayenne, and some Old Bay. You can totally add more of the Old Bay if you don't have the cayenne. That's a-okay. Some chili powder also has oregano and spices in there too. And allspice will give a nice rounded deep flavor since it has those cinnamon qualities and the nutmeg and clove. Cumin's going to give a little bit of that smoky spice. Thyme leaves, it's a nice little herbaceous quality, going to give it almost like a jerk seasoning flavor, which is really nice with the mango. Ground mustard is going to give that underlying heat, that roundness to it. Onion powder is just going to give that savory quality that we're going to need for this. And garlic powder. Now you can totally play with these ingredients like I said. Oregano, going to give more of an herbaceous quality, but not too much. It doesn't have to taste like pizza sauce. And seasoned salt. Then cover it up, seal it up, like that. Very nice. I'm using almost like a pizza style shaker. Give it a shake, and we're ready to go. Next up, the ribs. I'm using about a 4-pound rack. I pre-cut them into portion just so it's easier, and we're gonna bag them up in the zip top bag here before adding on our spice rub. Just shake it up and pour it on in there. Make sure that all that air is out. Give it a shake and a little massage. Very nice. You want to get it in there and really rub it in deep. That's why it's called a rub. It's not called a sprinkle. It's not called anything else. There we go. Nice. Get in there. A little bit. Work on that massage technique. We're ready. Next up, barbecue sauce. Add a tablespoon of vegetable oil to your pot. 1 small onion. And about 3 cloves of garlic. Put that right in there and let it sizzle away. Stir it around. About quarter cup or so of the dry rub. Stir it around to incorporate. Make sure it all melts. Since it has the brown sugar there, it'll give a nice caramel to it. An extra pinch of kosher salt. Some pepper medley to taste. Very good. All right. And some apple cider vinegar. We're going to deglaze. You're going to hear that bubble. That's nice. You definitely want to go in there with a spoon in a second. We're going to add in our mango wheat beer. That's one of the ingredients that's going to make this a mango barbecue sauce. Nice little stir there before we're going in with our ketchup. Give it a nice swirl once around the pan like so. Ketchup is a great ingredient for barbecue sauce because it really gives you the viscosity. Next up, some Worcestershire sauce for that roundness of flavor. About a dash or so. And some mango habanero hot sauce. You can go up or down on that if you like. And we're going to bring it to a boil. Look at that. That's looking pretty good. Let it boil for like 2 minutes or so. Reduce it to a simmer and let it bubble on away for about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on your cooktop, before turning it out into a storage container and letting it sit. It's going to thicken as it cools, so definitely you watch it, make sure you don't over reduce it. A little stir, a little taste. Nice. So, I know I promised you guys barbecue ribs, but, and this is kind of embarrassing, I don't have any charcoal, and my gas just kicked. So, we're gonna have to do something else to these ribs. They'll still be barbecue, but BBQ, not low and slow, which is the way to go. Still gonna be tasty though. We're gonna cook these ribs in 2 stages. First, we're going to make an aluminum foil pouch with 1 sheet of heavy duty aluminum foil on your sheet pan before stacking your dried and room temperature ribs. Too much liquid will create too much steam, and too much steam will make mushy ribs, and we don't want mushy ribs. You can be a little bit neater about it too. Then place a second layer of aluminum foil and start to crimp the sides. And you might want to add a 3rd layer too, just so the juice doesn't escape. Then we're going to roast in the oven for 1.5 hours to 2 hours at 400 degrees before taking out, basting with our barbecue sauce, and broiling till crisp. Every barbecue feast needs a satisfying side. That's why today, to go along with our ribs, I'll be making homemade stovetop mac and cheese. The only thing coming out of a box today is going to be that macaroni. 6 different cheeses in a creamy, rich bechamel sauce. But that's not it. We have a couple twists, of course. We're going to sneak in a couple of veggies. Don't tell your kids, okay? And then we're going to stuff it inside a pepper. So we have macaroni and cheese stuffed peppers. Let's see how you make it. We're going to start by shredding our cheese today. I'm using an 8-ounce block of jalapeno Havarti, but you can certainly use pepper jack if you can't find jalapeno Havarti. Pro tip, freeze your cheese for about an hour, which will make it easier to grate. That goes into our bowl, and then we're going to augment that with a couple of pre-shredded cheeses. The first one's going to be a Mexican 4-cheese blend, including Chihuahua and Asadero, about 1.5 cups, and then 1.5 cups of extra sharp cheddar. We have 2 pots here on the burner. The one on the left is about 3/4 of the way full with water. That's for our elbow macaroni, so we're going to generously salt that. In the pot on the right, we're going to add 4 tablespoons of butter and 4 tablespoons of flour, stirring in while we add the flour because we're building a roux. The roux is going to be the thickening agent for the bechamel sauce, so it's nice and rich and creamy. Next, we're going to add in about 1 cup of milk and then stir that in so the roux can start doing what it does best. Next up, a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. Right on in, get low on that so it doesn't splash. And now our seasonings, about 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of dried mustard, pinch of kosher salt, and pepper medley to taste. Put our little microplane on there and grate in about 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Let that come up to a simmer and let it thicken away before adding in our cheeses. We're going to add them in batches. We're going to add in a batch, stir to melt, add a batch. It's going to be about 4 batches in total. When the water comes to a boil, place 1 pound of elbow macaroni in and give it a nice little stir and cook it to the box's instructions. When it's done, use a spider strainer or strain it out and then put into the cheese sauce. I'm going to use the spider today just so it's a little bit easier, and the starchy cooking water will actually help the sauce stick to the pasta. It's a nice little, very good. Now we're going to bump up the veggies. 1 cup of riced cauliflower and 1 cup of corn. Nice big stir there. Look at that goodness. Rich, creamy. You see the corn giving a little fleck of sweetness. But we're not done yet, folks. Time to stuff the peppers. We're going to take 3 green bell peppers and cut the tops off. Remove the seeds. Spray our pan here with some non-stick spray, and then stack in our peppers like so. And we're going to start stuffing with our macaroni and cheese. It's a generous maybe cup or so I didn't measure, but eyeball it, just till it's full. Now we're gonna make a little breadcrumb topping with our panko. And about a tablespoon of Parmesan cheese, or Romano if you have it. Sprinkle that right on top. Nice and even with that. Very nice. And a little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. Place in a 350-degree oven for about 35 to 45 minutes, or until knife tender on the side. Another way you can see if your peppers are ready is if you give it a little feel there. If it springs back, you're good. Since the ribs and macaroni and cheese are on the rich and heavy side, I thought we would do something a little bit lighter, fresher, and more acidic to go along with it. So we're making a Brussels sprout and carrot hobo pack, basically a warm coleslaw. Take 15 baby carrots cut in half and place into a bowl before peeling 1 medium yellow onion. Cut the ends off like so. Turn on its side, peel down with your chef's knife, then with your thumb and forefinger get under the skin and peel it off. You can thinly French your onion, or you can thickly slice it like I have. Next up, the aluminum foil, 1 long sheet of heavy duty. The longer the better, since we're going to be folding it over. Place down your work surface, then add your Brussels sprouts. 1 pound of frozen. You could use fresh, but I find that the frozen works a little bit better because it's going to build more steam and decrease cook time. Add your onions and carrots before going in with your stone ground mustard. You can use Dijon for this, basically anything but hot dog mustard. Kosher salt, and some pepper medley to taste. Before adding in our extra virgin olive oil, we're building a vinaigrette in there, guys. Some red wine vinegar next, and start folding and crimping. There we go, get the sides all the way around. You might want to add a second layer just in case you accidentally poked a hole in the first layer. We're ready for the oven. Roast in a 350-degree oven for 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the strength of your oven. Mine runs a little bit low, so I went for an hour. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching the video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. As always, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Same name, As You Eat It. And remember, cook how you want to cook. Eat how you want to eat. Comfort yourself how you want to comfort yourself. Eat as you eat it. I'll see you next week.